Grand Duchess Olga Nikolaevna, was born on the 3rd of November, 1895, in the Anichkov Palace.
Her father recorded the day in his diary, with the simple joy of a young husband. God gave us a daughter, and with prayer we have called her Olga. From the beginning, she was marked by a compassionate heart and an unusual sensitivity.
Pierre Gilliard, who became her French tutor when she was 10, remembered his first impression of her with striking clarity.
She was very fair, with sparkling mischievous eyes and a slightly retroussé nose. She examined him with a look that seemed from the first moment to be searching for the weak point in his armor. Yet, in his words, there was something so pure and frank about the child that one liked her straight off. That combination of quick intelligence and transparent sincerity remained the constant note of her character.
Gilliard later wrote
that Olga possessed a remarkably quick brain, good reasoning powers, initiative, a very independent manner, and a gift for swift and entertaining repartee. She picked up everything extremely quickly and always managed to give an original turn to what she learned. In one of their early grammar lessons, when he was explaining the formation of the verbs and the use of the auxiliaries, she suddenly interrupted him. "I see, monsieur. The auxiliaries are the servants of the verbs. It's only pour avoir which has to shift for itself." The remark is small, yet it reveals a mind that did not merely absorb, but transformed what it received. Lili Dehn, the close friend of the Empress who knew the children intimately, remembered Olga as a most amiable girl, one whom people loved from the moment they set eyes on her. As a child, she was plain. At 15 she was beautiful, slightly above middle height, with a fresh complexion, deep blue eyes, quantities of light chestnut hair, and pretty hands and feet. She took life seriously. She was a clever girl with a sweet disposition, and Lili believed she possessed unusual strength of character.
When talk arose of a possible marriage with the Crown Prince of Romania, Olga made her position clear, with the same independence Gilliard had noted.
"I'm a Russian," she told her tutor, "and mean to remain a Russian." The words were not the petulance of a girl. They were the expression of a rooted love for her country that would later cost her everything. Her childhood diaries show a girl who wrote more of her personal feelings than her sisters did, and who even devised a private code so that her most intimate thoughts would remain her own. She had a special fondness for her father, and always wore a small icon of Saint Nicholas around her neck. On walks with him, and during their common summer activities, she found opportunities to open her heart. When she was 5, she nearly died of typhoid fever. When she was 8, she experienced the death of a beloved cousin, and on that year's Christmas morning, she asked with perfect seriousness whether God had taken the little girl's body so that they might keep the feast together in heaven. The question is pure Olga. Theological, tender, and entirely free of sentimentality. The war revealed the depth of that tenderness, and also its cost. Together with her mother and Tatiana, she trained as a nurse, and worked in the operating theatre at the Palace Hospital. The work was not ceremonial. She assisted at amputations, held instruments during operations, changed dressings, and sat with the wounded. Yet, her sensitive soul suffered intensely with the suffering of the young soldiers. When patients moaned in pain, her little face twitched and became crimson. She could not harden herself. That inability was not weakness. It was the price of a heart that remained open. After some months, the psychological strain became too great, and she had to withdraw from the operating rooms. She continued, however, to manage the hospital wings under her care and to tend the recovering men. Even as the war darkened and the political atmosphere grew poisonous, Olga's mind remained clear. She possessed a flawless knowledge of the economic and political condition of Russia. According to those close to the family, she sensed earlier than many what was coming, and the perception caused her intense unease. Nevertheless, she never allowed that unease to turn into bitterness. When the revolution came, and the family was confined first at Tsarskoe Selo, and then at Tobolsk, her letters remain free of hatred. They are full of concern for her parents, of practical care for her brother, of quiet faith, and of an almost stubborn determination to keep the ordinary rhythms of family life alive. In Tobolsk, when her parents and Maria were taken away under mysterious circumstances, Olga remained behind with Tatiana, Anastasia, and Alexis. The farewell notes she wrote to her father are among the most moving documents of the entire captivity. "My dear Papa, may the Lord protect you, bless you, and have pity on you, my dear, beloved Papa. Do not worry about Alexei. I cannot express to you how painful it is, but the Lord knows the reasons why we are going through all of this. I kiss you, and I love you as much as I can, my angel. My Papa. Your Olga." The language is simple, almost childlike in its directness. Yet, it carries the weight of a young woman who has already begun to understand the meaning of the cross. Later, when news finally reached them that their parents were in Ekaterinburg, she wrote again with the same mixture of anxiety and trust. "Oh my God, how are you? It is horrible not to be together, and to know nothing about you, because what we are told, generally is not always the truth. May God protect you." On Easter Day, she continued the letter. "Christ is risen. Dear beloved ones, we would love so much to know how you celebrated your Easter.
Dear Mama,
when will we finally be together? My little soul, how are things with you? I feel sad when I think about you. Why do we have everything, and you? What do you have?" The question is not rhetorical. It is the cry of a daughter who measures her own relative comfort against the unknown sufferings of those she loves most. It was during these months that Olga wrote on behalf of her father the message that has become known as his spiritual last will and testament. Father asks to have it passed on to all who have remained loyal to him, and to those on whom they might have influence, that they not avenge him. He has forgiven and prays for everyone, and not to avenge themselves, but to remember that the evil which is now in the world will become yet more powerful, and that it is not evil that conquers evil, but only love. The words are Nicholas's, yet the hand that set them down was Olga's. She had become the scribe of forgiveness. In one of the notebooks left behind in Ekaterinburg, among the scattered remnants of a life brought to its abrupt and terrible end, there was found a prayer, copied in the clear hand of Grand Duchess Olga.
The verses, composed by the poet Sergei Bekhteyev and sent to the family in Tobolsk, had become their own.
It reads, "Grant us thy patience, Lord, in these our woeful days, the mob's wrath to endure, the torturer's ire, thy unction to forgive our neighbor's persecution, and mild like thee, to bear a blood-stained cross. And when the hour comes to pass the last dread gate, breathe strength in us, to pray, Father, forgive them." These words, discovered after the martyrdom, are not the sudden outburst of a soul in extremis. They are the flowering of a character that had been formed slowly and deliberately through years of ordinary family life, of study and service, of quiet observation of the world, and of a deepening interior life. To understand the prayer is to understand the girl who made it her own. And to understand her is to come face to face with one of the most finely drawn human beings, in the history of the Imperial family. The notebook prayer found after their deaths is the final and concentrated expression of everything that had been forming in her soul for 22 years. Patience in woeful days, endurance of the mob's wrath, the unction to forgive, the willingness to bear a blood-stained cross, and at the last dread gate, the strength to pray the words of Christ himself, "Father, forgive them." Those who knew her best never described her as a plaster saint. She could be independent, occasionally stubborn, intellectually restless. She felt the weight of the times more acutely than her younger sisters. She suffered. However, precisely because she was fully human, the transformation of that humanity into a capacity for forgiveness becomes all the more radiant. The girl who once told an artist he was ugly because she could not sit still any longer, the young woman who could not bear the screams of the wounded without her face flushing, the daughter who wrote to her father that she could not express how painful the separation was, this same person left behind a prayer that asks for the strength to forgive the very men who would murder her. In the end, the prayer was answered. On the night of the 16th to the 17th of July 1918, when the family was led into the basement room, Olga stood with her mother and made the sign of the cross as the first shots were fired. She was given the grace and strength to bear her blood-stained cross. And the final petition of her prayer, that she might have strength to say, "Father, forgive them," was fulfilled not only in her own heart, but in the collective witness of the entire family. What remains for us is not a romantic legend, but a human face. A girl of quick mind and transparent sincerity. A nurse whose sensitivity was both her gift and her cross. A daughter who loved her father with a special tenderness. A Russian who refused to leave her country, even when marriage abroad might have saved her. A soul who in the darkest hour chose the path of forgiveness. The prayer in the notebook is her lasting portrait. And through it, we are permitted to see for a moment the real person behind the historical figure. The Grand Duchess Olga as she truly was.